Hello, everyone. Danny here again for another episode of Tough Love Tuesday. And if you can't tell, I am on the road. So, this is a very special edition coming to you from the road on my way to a little getaway for the next few days. And we just took a pit stop. Ben is doing some grocery shopping while I'm in here checking in with you guys. So, hope you're all doing well wherever you are. And yeah, we're having a lot of fun so far. So far, so good. Road trip. I wish I could show you you might be able to see it. Get out the beautiful mountains behind me. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So we're going to find some snow, the last snow of the season. So, this obviously has inspired this week's Tough Love topic, Tuesday, and is actually also inspired from a conversation I was having on my monthly cooking party that I do in my Sugar Freedom Collective community for members. We do that once a month. And on Sunday, we were all together cooking and chatting, and I was prepping food for this trip because we're going to be gone for a few days. And I asked the question to everyone who was there, what's kind of the energy and conversation that comes up for you around taking trips and travel, and how do you stay on track with your health? And obviously, eating nourishing foods and staying hydrated and all these things that seem to be, obviously more able to control and easier to do when we're at home in our own kitchen, all that stuff. And when we're on the road, whether you're flying somewhere or driving somewhere, it can become a bit trickier. And almost every woman who was on that call, which is why I knew I had to talk about this today, and this is the tough love today, admitted that they use the excuse of travel to just go AWOL with their eating, right? To eat all the junk, to just, well, forget it, no more salads. I'm just going to eat all the fast food. I'm going to just, eat all the candy and all the coffees and all the stuff. And I can really relate with that, and if you're watching this right now thinking, oh, yeah, I do that. Every time I take a trip, it's like this excuse that we give ourselves to just fall off the quote unquote bandwagon. And then we get home from our trip feeling exhausted and ashamed of ourselves and guilty and disgusting and bloated and all the things that derail us. And we get home, gained a couple pounds, and we feel like, oh, now I have to get back on quote unquote track. And it's such a roller coaster. And I think this topic is really applicable because obviously, depending on where you are in the world, I know that there's a lot going on. And for some of us, we can travel, some of us we can't. And, it can be really tricky, but it's coming into spring and summer. And I know most of us are going to be getting out a bit more, whether it's going camping or, getting out and obviously being safe in doing that. So, this really, I think, is an important topic for you to ponder for yourself, and really understanding that black and white thinking that has been imprinted in your brain from the diet industry around, all or nothing, right? It's like, okay, if I go on vacation, either I'm eating salads every day and being really good with, eating lots of vegetables and hydrating, or I'm eating all the junk. It's like one or the other. And it's so toxic for your long-term health, because then as soon as you say have an ice cream or go out for a burger, you start thinking, oh, well, it's too late. I'm just going to eat the rest of this way for the rest of the week, or however it is you're gone. So I want to call you all out on that. And I wish I had somebody to call me out on that in the past. And again, it does really stem from this black and white thinking. And I want to encourage all of us, everyone watching, to really break away from that thinking, because that's not how life is. And when it comes to our health, especially, it actually is something that hinders our health and our success and the steps that we're taking towards our goals, because we kind of get tripped up, have a bad day, and then throw it all away, right? And then spend the next month just binging on whatever we wanted to, as opposed to understanding that there's a lot of gray areas and there's room for flow and ebb and flow. And when it comes to travel, I think this is such an important place to look at it, and an easy place to look at it, because there's so many things that you can do. And I'm going to share a few things that I did prepping for this trip that you can, and I would actually love to hear in the comments below your, healthy travel tips as well. But there's so much that you could do to prep in advance so that it's not all or nothing when you travel. And you can come home feeling like you still stayed on track with your goals, but you also maybe built in a little flexibility to have an ice cream cone, or to, you know, have a couple glasses of wine, or whatever that is for you, right? Depending on your trip. So, and what you want. So one of the things that I do every time before a trip is I sit down and do a meal plan. So obviously, depending on where I'm traveling, this time we're going to be somewhere where we have access to a kitchen, and we're picking up some vegetables right now. Ben's in the grocery store there, good old Save on Foods, and getting some veggies so that we can cook those for breakfast and different things. So that we need. So we've got our cooler. You can't see it. It's back there, I promise. I promise. There's a cooler, and it's full of all the food. And last Sunday, I prepped a bunch of meals. So I made a bunch of lentil venison taco meat so we can make taco salads. I made some salad dressings. I cut up veggies. I made some snacks. We've got our banana blueberry oat muffins here, and we've already had a couple today just on the road, having a quick snack before we stop for lunch. So I've prepped all the snacks and as much food as I can, and I just loaded our cooler with vegetables, and we've got lots of fruit and like really healthy, nourishing things, so that I know when we get up there, we're not going to be reliant on whatever the family's cooking. They don't eat the same way we do, and I kind of know that, and I prep in advance. So even just thinking about what snacks can I bring, or what meals can I pack, and what things can I do that is going to make it easier for me to eat healthy food on wherever I am. And you can do this even if you're staying in a hotel room. I'm thinking back a couple years ago when I went to a conference in down in California, and the first thing I did was look up a local grocery store. I walked there, actually found somebody else in the conference that came with me, and we went and we grocery shopped. And I asked them to bring an extra mini fridge into my room. I remember that actually we had two mini fridges because a lot of hotels will do that. So if you need a bit more space, but you can have, you can easily make, your breakfast in your hotel room, or have salads for lunch in your hotel room, and just make use of the mini fridge. So there is lots that you can do. And really, I think the big thing is just planning ahead, and also being sure to stay hydrated. So we always travel with, we've got our huge water bottle, huge water bottle. So we're always, drinking, hydrating while we drive or wherever we are, and obviously stopping to stretch your legs if you're on a road trip. I mean, we're doing that now, just kind of taking a little break from all the driving, move our bodies. But the food piece is really about just prepping, prepping in advance, and looking ahead as well at some of the restaurants that may be there for options wherever you are, and kind of seeing what's there. The other thing that's really important to do, and I think this is more of the mental piece of it, is also giving yourself the grace and allowing for your goals to shift a little bit when you travel. I think so often when we get in the black and white thinking, we think, well, I have to eat the exact same strict whatever, hopefully it's not too strict, but the way that I'm eating at home on vacation. And sometimes that's just not possible. Obviously, when we are out of our home, less things are in our control. So how can you allow yourself a bit more flexibility? And if you've been following me, obviously, I'm a huge proponent of flexibility and freedom when it comes to food. And the guilt and shame we put on ourselves for not being perfect when we're away is really, really toxic. It's really toxic, and it can cause us to just totally throw in the towel, as I'm sure a lot of you can relate to. So, my question for you, and one thing that I do, is even planning ahead for maybe indulgences that I want. Like, I know on this trip we're going to be with some family. I'm probably going to have some more wine than I normally do. There's probably going to be some Easter candy. I'm going to let myself have a piece or two. Like, I'm not going to worry about it. And, I know what my tolerance is. I know what works for me. And I know that I can find that balance when I'm away from home, and still allow myself to maybe do some of those things, right? Or have an ice cream, or, do those things. And this is the beauty of that freedom when you get to that place, especially with sugar, but it takes some time to obviously get there. But I think, finding a balance and understanding breakfast and lunch, and then I'm just going to go out for dinner, and I'm going to make the healthiest choice I can, and be okay with that, and let yourself off the hook a little bit. I think there's so much guilt and shame. And one of the ladies actually in my group that was at the cooking party mentioned that she actually found herself avoiding going on vacation because it was so stressful. The shame and the guilt and the toxic eating patterns that would show up just by vacation. Imagine not wanting to go on a trip or vacation, or go and have an adventure, because you're so worried about not being able to stay on track with your food, and with whatever other goals you're working on. So I really want to encourage everyone watching and listening, obviously, to really start reflecting on this, and to check in with yourself on, where are you being really rigid and really strict, and also checking in, are you using this as an excuse to just throw in the towel, right? I mean, is this a self-sabotaging behavior that's showing up for you? Is this something that is just your subconscious brain saying, hey, you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna do it, right? And oh, you can't be in the gray area. It has to be black or white. It's all or nothing, right? And I want you to challenge that inner voice if that's what's showing up for you, and tell it where to go, because it's not the case. You can find flexibility, still have fun, and still stay on track. There's so much that you still can prepare and you can control when you're traveling, when you're on the road, in whatever way. And like I said, I've done it in when I've had to fly. I've done it, it's amazing how many things you can actually bring on the airplane for your own food. I've done it in hotel rooms. I'm doing it here on the road. I've done it camping. I've done it and I know it's possible. So I know it's possible for you too. Just takes a little prepping ahead, obviously calling yourself out on this if this is showing up for you, and do the planning that you can in advance. So there's my little tough love for all of you today. Okay, calling you out on this whole travel mentality, calling BS on it, calling out that you can find a happy medium, and still stay on track with what's important to you. So Ben is now back with the groceries. He's waiting patiently outside. I don't think you can see him. He's opened the trunk. There's no room in the trunk. We're loaded. We're loaded because I brought all my things, right? I brought all my own spices. I bring all sorts of things so that we can yeah, still eat good. Still eat good while we're away. So thank you all so much for tuning in and listening. And again, I would absolutely love to hear in the comments below, like, is this something that you notice? Is this something that's showing up for you as a pattern around travel? And also, what tips do you have so we can share with each other and learn from each other around traveling? What's worked for you? One of the tips that one of the other ladies shared in my group on Sunday was about getting a cooler that plugs into your car, which is pretty amazing. If you're on a really long road trip, you could have things staying cold in your back seat, just plugging it into your cigarette lighter. So some pretty cool things out there. And I would love to hear any of your tips or ideas in the comments below. I think there's a lot of great resources out there that you all have to share, and I would love to hear it. So thank you all again so much for being here. And I'm heading out of cell reception for a few days, but I will see you all same time, same place next week. Bye, everyone. Have a great week.